welcome to Above Replacement Radio. I am your host, Chris Gianta. You know what Christy Mathewson wasn't worried about? SIERA. When you're thinking about Pedro Siriaco, I mean, the only one that can compete is maybe Hannes Wagner's 1908 season. Over there on the other side of the screen is Daniel Curran.
Like, if we just clip together every time we've talked about him on other people's profiles, we've done a Mickey Cochran episode.
I can't get past Rabbit Marinville. It's not necessarily Hall of Fame. It's not necessarily above average, but we can guarantee you we are better than just the standard replacement level college sophomore.
And welcome to Above Replacement Radio, where we're talking baseball, kind of whenever. I'm your host, Chris Gianta. Over there across from me, as you cannot see on YouTube, unfortunately, is Daniel Curran. How you doing, Daniel?
Chris, I am doing extremely well today. This is one of our favorite yearly shows. You know, the anticipation is like, the build-up is all there. We got to put a bow on the off-season, and then it's back to our regular season schedule, which is, it's a good thing. It's a fun thing to do, for sure.
It's exciting, and yeah, it's good. We're doing it, we're also doing this on a nice, sunny afternoon. Spring feels like it is springing,
Yes.
And we're doing predictions, and
yeah,
it's always fun to do. It's like you have your own, like, not that there's anything on this, or there's no like financial implications, but it's good to just have your own little investment in your head of what's happening.
Yes.
And yeah, it's fun to see where we're at and what we expect out of the season. But first order of business, there was another major transaction, another major loss for the Oakland Athletics, and a gain in the rotation for the San Diego Padres. Sean Manaea goes to the San Diego Padres. I didn't look too deep into the return for him, but I'm looking at his transactions now. If Baseball Reference will load. Well, it has a tough time doing that, but Sean Manaea going to the Padres nonetheless, adding to a very good rotation. Like, we knew we thought it was going to be a little bit better heading into last year, but a good rotation, and I don't know where he's going to end up in that rotation.
Probably 5.
Could very possibly.
I think that's where Fangraphs has him. No, they have him at 3 actually. Yu Darvish, Joe Musgrove, Sean Manaea, Nick Martinez, Blake Snell, with Dinelson Lamet in the bullpen. Mike Clevenger still on the. Oh, Mike Clevenger is knee soreness. Okay.
Weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Sean Manaea traded to the Padres, and yeah, 3.91 ERA last year. I think 3.66 FIP, if my memory serves correct. I don't have it in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I mean, I don't know what to think of it, because the Padres rotation, it's interesting because we thought it was going to be like top 3 or 4 last year. Everyone was either injured or kind of disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, depending on, like, there's a lot of different ways this can go in terms of where he will end up in the rotation. If some Padres have some bounce back seasons, depending on that or not, he could be like a number 2 or 3 guy, or he could be a number 5 guy.
Yeah, I mean, I think he could be just another big piece for that Padres rotation for sure. This is a guy that did pretty well in Oakland. I think a change of scenery could make him even better.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, I know they changed pitching coaches last year. I wonder if that will have any effect on anything.
For Sean Manaea, he doesn't have to change his manager.
That's true.
That's probably really huge for him.
Yeah, that is yeah.
Especially with a guy like Bomel.
Right.
Bob Melvin.
It doesn't have his transactions yet. So when you go to the last trade was traded by the Kansas City Royals with Aaron Brooks to the Oakland Athletics for Ben Zobrist and cash. Mm-hmm. And I saw Ben Zobrist and I was like, he's still playing? And I was like, oh wait, that was
2015.
That was 2015.
Yeah.
But yeah, Yeah, 3.91 ERA last year with a 3.66 FIP, 9.7 strikeouts per nine. Sort of a career year, I guess. Yeah, at least FIP wise for sure, and strikeout wise. So yeah, I like it. Yeah, I like it for the Padres, it's hard to talk about the Padres because we have no idea what they're gonna do really.
Nope.
So
I mean, I think Bob Melvin as the new manager is gonna make a huge difference. I mean, I guess we can get into it later because we have our standings predictions, our playoff predictions, and we have them going there.
Yeah. So that will wrap up the Sean Manaea discussion. So yeah, he's going to the Padres.
He is. Yes.
Good for him.
Staying with Bob Melvin. That's cool.
Going back to the new manager and shaping out that Padres rotation. And yeah, there's a lot of unpredictability with the Padres, but we're gonna try. We're gonna try this episode.
Mm-hmm.
So now on to the main event of everything. Full standings predictions. We're gonna talk about why we have all 30 teams, where they're gonna place in their division, and a little bit why, and we'll kind of snake it. So we'll talk about what the should we go east to west?
I listed East Central West, ALNL. That's how I did my order.
Yeah, that's how I did it.
Okay, cool. Let's just do that then.
American League East. All right.
Who's going first?
Who?
Who do you have in fifth? Who do you have in fifth?
I wonder who's going to be last in the AL East.
Who do you have?
I have the Orioles.
I have the Orioles too.
No way.
Yeah.
All right.
Now is where it might be different.
Yeah. Well, why do you think the Orioles are going to be in last?
I just look up and down in that lineup. I'm just not feeling it.
It's just a feeling.
It's just a feel, It doesn't give me that real feel of, what, this is a 90-win team.
Yeah, for some reason I just don't see them increasing their win total by like 35.
I look at that rotation. Sure, John Means.
Yeah.
All right.
He had a no-hitter.
Go from there. Oh, Jordan Lyles. They have Tyler Wells at starting pitcher 3 now?
Oh, sick. Great.
After that, they traded 2 of their bullpen pitchers, so they moved another member of their bullpen to the rotation. That makes sense.
Great.
Bruce Zimmerman, Keegan Aiken. I don't know. I feel like there isn't much of an explanation.
Yeah, there's not an explanation.
Yeah.
All right. So, you can go 4 through 1 now.
Okay, my 4 through 1. In 4th place, I have the Boston Red Sox. Yeah. I have a lot of questions about the rotation. I think the bullpen, there's some potential, but I think it also can be very shaky. Matt Barnes struggled a lot in the second half of last year. His velocity has been concerning in spring training. Garrett Whitlock, I think, can take on the closer role, but I know that they do also want to try to stretch him into the rotation. A lot of guys, I'm worried about walks in a lot of people. Ryan Brazier, Hirokazu Sawamura, Jake Diekman. I'm worried about their walk rates. I think the only person that... I don't really know if there's another person that I'm not worried about with walks in that bullpen, honestly.
Right.
Except for, maybe Matt Barnes, but he got hit very hard.
Yeah.
And then in the rotation,
very up and down.
Chris Sale, I still am not convinced that he's fully back with what he did after Tommy John. There were flashes of potential there. The strikeouts were pretty good, the walks were not bad, but he gave up a lot of home runs and he gave up a lot of hard contact. Nathan Eovaldi, I think, will be an ace, and I think he's going to have a very good last year. I think there's a lot riding on this first few months of the season for the Red Sox because Xander Bogaerts could be a free agent after this season. He's probably going to be a free agent after this season. JD Martinez is a free agent. Nathan Eovaldi is a free agent. Kike Hernandez is a free agent. If they're out of the race, the division race, or even the playoff race come July, who says they don't sell?
Right. With the
they have a lot. Sox. They have a lot of good teams in their division that they're going to have to keep pace with. If they don't think that they can do that, especially with all 3 of those other teams probably buying at the deadline, they have pieces they can sell off. And I think that, as crazy as it sounds, it's possible. It might be a long shot, but it's possible.
Right. And I think that might be a matter of what ownership might want, because I feel like Chaim Bloom is going to be less shy to do that than potentially ownership at the deadline, because I don't think they'd necessarily be worried about financial stuff, like in terms of like luxury tax and whatever.
No, because they're under it now.
Yeah. So you have Red Sox at number 4.
Yeah. At number 3, I have the New York Yankees.
Mm-hmm.
I think that offense doesn't get enough credit.
Right.
I really don't. They were one of the unluckiest teams in baseball in all of last year, based on differences between batting averages and expected batting average, slugging x slugging, WOBA x WOBA. They were on the short end of the stick more often than not, and certainly more than any other team. Rizzo, Judge, Gallo, Stanton, Donaldson, top 5 is hilarious.
Yeah.
Each of them could probably hit 25 to 50 home runs.
Yeah.
And as far as rotation goes, Garrett Cole is going to be Garrett Cole. I think Jordan Montgomery could take a step up this year. Luis Severino is a wild card. Jamison Taillon had some very good peripherals last year. Nestor Cortez surprised them as well. They also have some younger guys, Clark Schmidt, Devi Garcia. Devi Garcia threw a lot harder in spring this year, and their bullpen's very good. I know that Chapman struggled for a point in last year, but I still think he'll be fine. Jonathan Loaizaga is easily a top 10 reliever in baseball. You could probably even argue top 5. I think he's the best reliever in that pen, and I would argue he should be the closer, but I don't think they would take that away from Chapman. Also, Clay Holmes, like you mentioned, Chad Green, Wandy Peralta, Luis Hill, Lucas Litke. I think there are so many good names in that bullpen that don't get enough credit, and for that reason, I have them finishing 3rd.
Right.
And in 2nd place, I have the two-time defending AL East champion Tampa Bay Rays. I'm not sure how I feel about the rotation. I think their flaws were really exposed in the postseason by the Red Sox. And going in, Shane McClanahan, is a guy that is a breakout candidate, which is good. But if that's your ace, I don't know how confident I can say that you're going to be winning the division. As far as the bullpen, which is really the pitching staff for this team, to me, it just doesn't seem as strong as it did in years past. Like, sure, Andrew Kittredge had an awesome year. JP Feyereisen is one of the top relievers. He walked a lot of guys last year, especially on the Rays. JT Chajwa didn't exactly replicate his Mariners' success on the Rays. I think there's one real bullpen breakout candidate, and that's Brooks Raley, who came from Houston. He had very good peripherals, but bad results. They have Slider King, Matt Whistler. And then from there on, it's Ryan Thompson, Jeffrey Springs, Jason Adam, Jalen Beeks, Josh Fleming. I feel like it's been better in years past. That's not to say that it can't be good. I think, like I said, I still think they're a second-place team and probably a playoff team as well.
Yep.
But I don't know how I feel. I think the Rays are a little more top-heavy than usual. On the other side, they have Wander Franco for a full year. That dude is going to be electric. They have I think Randy Arozarena is going to break out more. I think Austin Meadows is going to get more playing time and therefore is going to have more success. I think there's a lot of star power on this team as well, alternatively to the weaknesses. And then at the top of the division, I have the Toronto Blue Jays. I have the AL East banner flying north of the border this year. This is the most complete team in this division, I think. The lineup is possibly the best in the AL, maybe the best in the league. You look up and down, every single thing is great. George Springer, if he stays healthy, great. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., great. Teoscar Hernandez, great hitter. Bo Bichette, great. Alejandro Kirk is a DH, underrated. I think if they platoon him right, they can get a lot of results out of him. Lourdes Gurriel Jr., pretty good. Matt Chapman, good offensively, great defensively. Kevin Biggio, they haven't exactly seen the production that they want out of him, but I think it could be there. Danny Jansen had a great finish last season. Also, Santiago Espinal on the bench. That's a guy who had a pretty good season that a lot of people didn't realize.
Right.
And then in that rotation, you have Jose Barrios, Kevin Gausman, Hyunjin Ryu, Alek Manoah, Yusei Kikuchi. Those are all guys that can get a lot of innings for that team.
Right.
Which I think is very exciting because normally, like in most rotations, the 5-starter is projected maybe like 110 innings or something like that, and you kind of have to fill in from there. According to Fangraphs, out of those 5, the one who's projected the least amount of innings is Manoah with 141, which is good. And then you look up and down the bullpen. Jordan Romano is a great closer. Yimi Garcia has had a lot of success in the last couple seasons. Tim Meza has one of the best strikeout to walk ratios. Adam Simber and Trevor Richards were great in Toronto last year. Julian Merriweather was awesome when he was healthy, which was a very small point of the season. This is a team that has greatness everywhere right now. They also have Gabriel Moreno, a catching prospect that's top 10 in the majors, who could come up this season. There's a lot of potential on this Blue Jays team, and I have them winning the AL East.
Yeah. Very good explanations of the standings there. My fifth place American League East team, as I said before, will be the Baltimore Orioles, which I know is a very hot take. I just don't see Jordan Lyles taking that step up and being the addition they want him to be. But yeah, in all seriousness, they won 52 games last year. They'll probably do a little better with Adley Rutschman developing, some other guys like Mountcastle and Austin Hayes developing, and maybe Cedric Mullins will have a similar year as he did last year. And I don't know, maybe they'll see some time from Grayson Rodriguez, the number 6 prospect in baseball, but I know Fangraphs has him estimated time, or his estimated time of arrival is 2023, which makes sense because he's only 22, and I think the Orioles are going to want more control of him. In fourth place, to differ, I have the Yankees, and I will say I think the Yankees have a better roster than the Red Sox. However, I do think they will finish lower because with the Red Sox, I love having Alex Cora at the helm. Aaron Boone hasn't really been effective, and it's surprising that he still has a job there. And also, I think with the Yankees, last year they had 2 full healthy seasons from Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton, and I don't know if I can necessarily rely on that being a thing. I'm not saying that they're, it's going to be like, Stanton's only going to play 18 games like he did, a few years ago or whatever. But, I can't really bank on both of them being healthy for the whole season like they were last year. I do like, I think Joey Gallo is going to be better for them than a lot of people are thinking about. So I like that, but I think also they're kind of an older team as well. Some of their premier guys like Stanton, Chapman, even like Chad Green, Josh Donaldson. They're all kind of on the wrong side of their career, and wrong trend of their career. So I think there's that, and I think they just need a management change. And I see the Red Sox making like better, smaller moves at the deadline than potentially the Yankees. So that transitions to my third place team in the American League East, the Boston Red Sox, who I have as the 6th seed in the American League playoffs. This is a downgrade. They did finish second last year, or tied for second last year. They did downgrade in roster. I think the Eduardo Rodriguez going to another team, that's going to affect them poorly because, last year, especially towards the end of the year, you had Evaldi, Sale, Rodriguez, and now starting the year, you only have Evaldi of that group. So that's not great. Their bullpen, I think also there were some career years from the Red Sox that, maybe they're going to take some steps back. But I do see them being a third place team, upper 80s in the win column, maybe between like 86 and 89 wins next in 2022. So I see the Red Sox in third place. Rays are going to be my second place team, and kind of similar to your thinking. Just to add to, they lost a little bit. They're not going to have Tyler Glass now this year at all, compared to they had him for about half the season last year. So they're not going to have him at all. Their rotation depth is not great. But with Kevin Cash, you're just going to find out ways to win, which is why I have them ahead of the Red Sox, and things like that. And a full year of Wander Franco, you love to see that as well. And they just figure out ways to win games. Part of me was tempted to have like maybe the Red Sox or Yankees ahead of them, but I don't know. They're just gonna figure it out. I don't know how, but they will. And then in first place, I have the Blue Jays. Like you said, most complete team, and I think at the deadline they're probably going to make some moves to improve their bullpen as well, because their bullpen is probably the weakest. Not that it's weak, but it's probably the weakest out of like bullpen starting pitching and lineup. And I know despite the losses of Marcus Semien and Robbie Ray, they got Kevin Gausman, which is basically same production as Robbie Ray and probably more reliable to maybe have a more successful season, because we saw that success in 2020 as well. And then with Marcus Semien, you didn't get a second baseman, but you got Matt Chapman to play third. And I think Kevin Biggio is gonna take another. He's gonna bounce back from where he was last year. And I see that going well. A full year of Jose Barrios is going to be nice as well. And I forget, I think in the last 2 months also, the Blue Jays had like the second best record in the American League. And that was when they had, full year of Springer as well. That's when they had like Springer more consistently in the lineup. That's when they had Barrios. That's when I think they were developing a lot of team chemistry as well, fighting for a playoff spot. So I see that continuing, being really good, and I see, them winning the American League East. And also a fun thing is, I don't know if it's fun or not, but like the idea that, they're in Canada.
Yeah.
The unvaccinated players are not going to be allowed to play.
That's a huge advantage for them on a game-by-game basis.
It's a home field advantage like we've never seen before. So there's that. That can play to their advantage as well. All right, so in the AL East, I have Blue Jays, Rays, Red Sox, Yankees, Orioles. Now on to the American League Central, where I have the Royals in last place. I think they went 74 and 88 last year, and I think their Pythagorean win-loss record was like a good amount worse. I think I don't know if it's necessarily that they're not going to be as good as, or not going to. I don't know if it's necessarily that they're going to be worse than they were last year. I just think there were some upgrades that some other teams in the Central made, where they're not going to be able to keep up. You got to be excited about a full season of Bobby Witt Jr., full rookie season of that. MJ Melendez and Nick Prado are also going to be coming up, and it's just their pitching staff is pretty rank right now, and their lineup needs some developing as well. So I don't think they'll be like fighting for a number one pick, but they'll probably have like 70 wins or something like that. In fourth place, I have the Cleveland Guardians, who, they did nothing to improve their team over the offseason, and I think they were like particularly bad from like June on last year. I don't have the exact statistics, but
I can look it up.
But yeah, there was some like date, because at one point, like halfway through the season, they were like 7 games above 500.
They did lose a lot of guys to injury, specifically on the pitching staff.
Yeah, they did. Shane Bieber, the headliner of that. But I think, and it's not a thing where I think the Guardians are necessarily going to do a lot worse, but I just see the improvements and the development of other teams being ahead of them, like getting themselves ahead of them. But I also wouldn't be surprised if the Guardians were even like second place, because is Terry Francona going to be managing the whole year?
That is an excellent question. I could not tell you right now.
They're in solid hands with him. They'll be in solid hands if Shane Bieber is able to pitch the whole year. But outside of him and maybe Cal Quantrill and maybe Aaron Savale, I don't love the rotation, and I don't love the lineup.
Yeah, he is. Terry Francona is still. Sorry to interrupt you, but he is still managing. He's officially managed longer in Cleveland than he did in Boston. That's crazy.
That is crazy.
Apparently, with this year, he will have now. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, with the Guardians, like I love Jose Ramirez. He's one of the best players in baseball, but outside of him in that lineup, their outfield's always been a mess. Franmil Reyes should be doing good, but outside of him, I don't see a lot of necessarily bright spots with the team, and I think they might kind of know that. And then in third place, I have the Tigers, who they made some significant improvements and also from May 8th on last year went 68 and 61. That was very good. I think they saw a lot of development from a lot of their young guys like Casey Mize, and Tarek Skubal, and even like Akil Badu, who kind of came out of nowhere. And then they just recently added Eduardo Rodriguez and Javier Baez. I think those additions are going to be very, very good too. However, I do have them remaining in third place. Not necessarily because they're going to have like 77 wins like they did last year, but I think the Twins are going to have a bounce back season to a relative degree. Maybe not a playoff team, but to a relative degree, I think the Twins are going to bounce back. And I think Casey Mize, ERA wise, like last year, Casey Mize I think had a FIP over 5. I don't think he's going to be able to prevent runs at the same rate he did last year. And I think maybe there were some guys who had some really good years who might, take a bit of a step back because that was kind of them at their best. And then at number 2 in the AL Central, I have the Minnesota Twins. Added Carlos Correa, but that's not all the reason why I'm going to have them in second place. Now, I don't really like their rotation at all. I mean,
really?
I like Sonny Gray, and I think Bailey Ober has potential, but outside of him...
What about Joe Ryan, their opening day starter?
Joe Ryan? Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really looked at his numbers.
He's starting on opening day. He got traded for Nelson Cruz last season.
Yeah, Joe Ryan. Well, he came out of the Rays system.
Yes.
Oh, 10.1 strikeouts per 9 and 1.7 walks per 9. All right, so maybe I'm a little more optimistic about their rotation with Joe Ryan coming out of the Rays system. But yeah, I guess I just didn't look too deep into there. But I also really like their lineup with, just going around the diamond. You got Miguel Sano, Luis Arias, Jorge Polanco, Carlos Correa.
A possible full year of Byron Buxton.
Yeah, possible full year of Byron Buxton. Gio Urshela, I think, might bounce back a little bit. Gary Sanchez now. Max Kepler and Alex Kirilloff, we both are predicting he's gonna have a much better year than he did last year. So yeah, I like the Twins to finish above 500 this year and finish second in the American League Central. And in first place, I have the White Sox, who will be grabbing the second seed in my American League playoffs. And by the way, I don't think I mentioned, I have the Rays in the 4th seed and the Blue Jays in the 1st seed.
Okay, I did not mention mine either. I'll save it.
So, White Sox, man, there is some traffic going on near Abbey Appleton Hall.
Yep.
So, in first place, I have the White Sox. They went 93 and 69 last year, despite some injuries with Eloy Jimenez and
Luis
Robert taking them out for basically half the year.
Did you see that Lynn's hurt?
Yeah, Lance. I did see that Lance Lynn is hurt, and he's going to be out for like 4 weeks or so.
Mm-hmm.
They did lose Carlos Rodon and Craig Kimbrell now, but added Joe Kelly, Kendall Graveman, and I guess they did lose Garrett Crochet. But I think we we'll see maybe Michael Kopech have a bigger role. And I like what they have with Giolito and Cease, even without Lynn, for however much time. And the lineup, of course, is great, especially with A.J. Pollock now being added. And yeah, I mean, we have been a little concerned about their performance against good teams, but in terms of them winning the Central, I don't know if it'll be too much of an obstacle for them to win the Central. All right, what is your American League Central?
We have the
standings?
exact same standings.
Oh,
Spoiler alert.
fun.
Yeah. Yep. I also have Royals, Guardians, Tigers, Twins, and Guardians. Or not Guardians, White Sox. I don't know why I said Guardians twice. Yeah, I mean, I think you kind of said everything. I won't repeat too much. As far as the Royals, just watch Bobby Witt Jr., man.
Yeah.
Just watch that guy. That's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Also watch for MJ Melendez and Nick Prado when they get brought up.
Right.
Which will probably be later in the season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, the pitching staff is very uninspiring. I know they did add Zach Greinke, but
Yeah.
he's not Zach Greinke anymore. I actually just looked this up. His strikeout rate last season was the lowest it's been since 2005.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like Jermaine Dye was the World Series MVP the last time he had the strikeout rate that low.
Yes. So that's, I mean, you kind of said everything. The Guardians, I think, I don't know if they're going to trade Jose Ramirez yet. I think they save it for the offseason for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Because he still has 2 years left. Yeah, I mean, I think their lineup is okay at best. I think there's a little bit of potential there, but I think there's just a lot of guys that might have good batting averages but won't really slug. Miles Straw, Ahmed Rosario, Andres Jimenez.
Right.
But they do have Juan Soto, so that's pretty cool.
Juan Soto.
Yeah. I have to shout out Foolish Baseball for that one because he said it first. Yeah, they do have Stephen Kwan, who is going to hit 80 home runs this season. And also 50 doubles. But I still think they're going to finish fourth. The Detroit Tigers, I probably would have put them second if the Twins didn't get Carlos Correa.
Right.
But I think they have a very good lineup. They have Spencer Torkelson on the opening day roster, which is very exciting. You know that the CBA did actually seem to prevent service time manipulation, except for the Pirates, of course.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Torkelson's on the big league club?
Yeah, there was a
That's
video.
pretty nice.
Apparently, there was like a video where Miguel Cabrera. The video wasn't him doing it, but it was Torkelson talking about like Miguel Cabrera like gave him a glove and was like, "It's yours now. Like this is your role now."
Wow.
Which was really cool.
That's a legendary moment. If I'm being honest.
Yes. But yeah, like there's a lot of guys that are on the opening day rosters. Hunter Green for the Reds, Spencer Torkelson for the Tigers, Bobby Witt Jr. for the Tigers. The Mariners just announced that J-Rod's coming.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't expect that from
Like,
the Mariners.
Service time manipulation actually, well, they're competing, so it makes sense.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. But
yeah,
the
but
whole
cer-
with
but,
the
like, it does
Kevin
seem
Mather
like-
thing.
Well, he's gone now.
He's gone.
But yeah, service time manipulation does seem to be not as present this year.
Yeah.
Except you can't stop Bob Nutting. You can't do it.
Yeah, he'll
He will service time manipulate anybody.
yeah.
Doesn't matter if it's a major league ready shortstop.
who hit the hardest ball a Pirate has ever hit in
Yes.
the Statcast
And by
era.
the way, he played 2 games.
Yeah.
Anyway, the Tigers, I think their pitching staff is going to take a lot of steps forward this year. Erod having that presence at the top of the lineup at the top of the rotation is going to be great. Mize, Skubal, and Manning are all going to have Tucker Barnhart catching, who is a much better defensive catcher than anyone they've had in the past. So I think there's going to be a lot of improvement there. I think they're going to be an interesting team to watch, and I have them finishing third. The Minnesota Twins, I think their rotation has a lot of potential that a lot of people aren't talking about. Joe Ryan, Bailey Ober, I've mentioned. Sonny Gray, his home road splits are definitely favor him going into a new ballpark. Dylan Bundy and Chris Archer, I think, can be interesting because they've shown signs of success in the recent past. Not that I think they're going to be like total studs, but I think they can be
Right.
serviceable as 4 and 5 guys in that rotation. I think they have some underrated names in the bullpen. Obviously, everyone knows Taylor Rogers at this point, but Tyler Duffy, Jorge Alcala, Caleb Thelbar, they've produced pretty well for them in the past. And then obviously there's that lineup. And then in first place, I have the Chicago White Sox. This is another complete team, even with the injuries to Lance Lynn and also Garrett Crochet getting Tommy John surgery. This is a very good team, up and down. There's really not much else to be said. I think it's just going to be interesting to watch what they can do against the good teams.
Yeah. And for reference on when I was talking about the Twins being bad after a certain point, and I will preface this by saying I think this was around the time when Shane Bieber got injured, and also I think Savale and Zach Plesac.
Yeah, dude, they had Eli Morgan starting games for them.
Yeah.
JC Mejia.
But after June 24, they were 39-51 for the third worst record in the American League.
Wow.
And that was last in the American League Central. But yeah, injuries had to do with that. But yeah, they were not trending in the right direction to end the 2021 season. But on to the American League West.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you have? It is quite the race for last. I think
the AL West.
Yeah, I think a recent trade might have shifted the odds a little bit.
I think it was even before that.
Yeah.
I'm going first this time. Yeah, in fifth place, I have the Oakland A's. Chris, I'm gonna put you on the spot. Name 10 A's players right now.
I saw a foolish baseball tweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you got Sean Murphy. Seth Brown, I remember from your tweet.
Yep.
But this is partly cheating because I looked at your tweet.
Okay.
And then, Jed Lowry, Lou Trevino. Who else is in that? Who else is still in that bullpen? You got Frankie Montas still. He's in there. James Caprillion. There's is Ramon Laureano still on the team?
Yes, he is.
Awesome. Love to see that. Well, maybe not for him, but if you're an A's fan. And then is Elvis Andrews still on the team?
Yes,
wow,
he is.
Interesting. How many is that? 6?
That's 8. You have
8?
2 more.
Oh, great. Who else did we see in that pitch for that team? There was Lou Trevino. He was saving the games. Petit's still a free agent, I think.
He's not on the team.
Yeah. Romo's gone. I'm trying to think of who they added. Oh, Christian Pache.
Christian Pache.
So there's 9, and then who's playing like second base? Oh, Tony Kemp.
Yeah, that's 10.
Let's go.
You forgot Stephen Vogt. You forgot Stephen Piscotty. You forgot Chad Pinder.
How could I forget Chad Pinder?
Cole Irvin. Most importantly, you forgot AJ Puck.
Oh, yeah.
You forgot my player to watch. There's really no explanation. The A's, they kind of crashed and burned last August and September after adding Starling Marte, and they went through the big fire sale. They they lost 6 big players, whether that was in free agency or through trade.
Yeah.
It's just a very uninspiring team up and down. Frankie Montas is probably out the door this year. Sean Murphy might be out the door this year. There's no real reason to believe in this team. The Texas Rangers, alternatively, are going to finish 4th, in my opinion. They obviously made 2 major additions to their team, Marcus Semien and Corey Seager. I think the pitching staff is still meh. John Gray is all right. Martin Perez is the 2. I know a lot of people are going to laugh at that, but he had some very good home road splits away from Fenway last year.
Interesting.
So that's good. I think that, there is still a lot to be uninspired by. The rotation just as a whole is John Gray, Martin Perez, Dane Dunning, Taylor Hurd, Spencer Howard. Some of those guys have potentials to take steps up, but I don't think it's enough right now. Wait, Matt Bush is back on the team? What?
Wow. Watch out, Jose. Watch out, Jose Batista.
No way. He's a non-roster invite, but they have him as the closer behind Joe Barlow.
Isn't he like 04 number 1 overall
Yeah.
pick? Yeah.
He's 36 years old. He has 3.5 years of service time.
Yeah.
I didn't even know they got him back. I didn't even know he was still in the system. It says they acquired him in 2015 still.
Yeah, did he?
Okay, so the first place team is the Rangers, with Matt Bush as the setup man.
He's gonna have 12 wins above replacement as a reliever.
Yes.
Yeah.
My third place team in the division is the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. I know a lot of people want to see better than third, but I have third because, I don't know, it's the Angels. Yeah, they have Ohtani, they have Trout, they have Rendon. The pitching staff, I think, still leaves some questions. Patrick Sandoval, if he can stay healthy. Noah Syndergaard, if he can stay healthy. Jose Suarez, if he can put it together. Reed Detmers, if he can develop at the age of 22.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm
2
still
years after being drafted.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm still kind of uninspired. I think the bullpen is very underrated.
Yeah,
Raisel
Iglesias.
Iglesias is a top 5 reliever in baseball, probably.
Yeah.
They have Ryan Tepera, Aaron Loop, Archie Bradley, Mike Mayers. It's a much better bullpen than a lot of people realize, and the lineup's pretty good, especially if they can get development from Brandon Marsh and Joe Adele. But I don't know. I've overestimated the Angels too much to put them in the playoffs at this point.
Right.
In second, I have the Houston Astros. I think there's going to be a shift in power this year. The lineup is still very good, even without Correa, Altuve, Brantley, Bregman, Alvarez, Tucker, Gurriel. I mean, Jeremy Pena has potential. There are a lot of great bats there. The rotation is a question mark. Framber Valdez, he is the master of ground balls, but he does walk a lot of people. Justin Verlander, we have to see how he's going to come back from Tommy John. Their Fangraphs is projecting a down year from Luis Garcia. Jake Odorizzi, I don't know how much work he can really handle. And the bullpen, I don't know. I mean, Ryan Presley's great, but over the course of 162, I don't know how confident I feel in guys like Ryan Stanek, Hector Neris, Phil Maton. I'm just not sure how to feel about this team. Also, Lance McCullers Jr. is currently hurt. I don't know. Let's see what the report is on him real quick. Will not be ready for opening day. Okay, so he'll probably be there, but he also did lead all qualified starters in walk rate last year. It's still a very good team, but I am going to... I don't have them winning the division this year. I have the Seattle Mariners winning the division and breaking the long, 2-decade-long playoff drought. I love the additions that this team made. Jesse Winker, Eugenio Suarez, even Adam Frazier. That really boosts up the offense, which was by far their biggest flaw last year. In the rotation, they made some big additions. Robbie Ray, obviously, is the big one. I think Marco Gonzalez is going to have a comeback season. Maybe it won't be 2020, but I think it'll be an easy middle ground between those 2 years. Chris Flexen, Logan Gilbert, I think they're both going to take steps forward. And then Matt Brash is going to be in that rotation, which is exciting. It's exciting for us. And the bullpen is pretty solid. Juice Steckenrider, Paul Sewald, Diego Castillo, Eric Swanson, guys that performed well last year. I think this team they have a lot of potential. This is not the first time that they've had a really good potential team coming into a season, but I think this one has the biggest chance of being legit. Julio Rodriguez and Jared Kelenic are both going to be in the lineup, which is exciting. These are my AL West champions.
Yeah, and for reference, Matt Brash was on our show when it was a radio show.
Yes, we were in that room across the way.
Probably like maybe the 25th episode. It's not on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. If you want,
it's on
Paris. It's on my Twitter. If you want to scroll back to my tweets in February 2020,
it's on Periscope somewhere.
Yeah, it is. I'm pretty sure Periscope is like shut down now. Like you can't.
That's unfortunate.
You can't Periscope anymore. You might be able to watch other old Periscopes, but
yeah,
I think that trend went down the wazoo. But yeah, Matt Brash, cool guy, very nice guy. He was cool to us.
Yes.
Gave good answers and stuff. All right, my American League West. I agree that the Athletics are going to be last place. Yeah, I mean they lost basically every reason. They lost all the players that made them good, basically, to put it in layman's terms. And yeah, and everyone else who's semi-good is probably also leaving, like Frankie Montas. Although I did say Sean Murphy's sticking around, but I don't think he's going to carry them to fourth place alone. Like, you just look at that lineup, and now the rotation, and it's just you can't deal with that. Rangers I have in fourth as well. Simeon and Seager is definitely going to improve them. John Gray is going to improve them. And they're just generally, like, their roster improved, and they have a lot of guys on the team that are also developing. Like Nate Lowe, your player to watch. And there's some, Nick Solak is a guy who's also developing. Adolis Garcia, I'm not exactly sure on him, but I think there's a good amount of potential with him. Like, he has, he has the power, he has speed, he has good defense, and I think he'll make some improvements. I think they'll develop, and I think they'll be fourth place, probably like win total in the low 70s maybe.
Mm-hmm.
They were 60 and 102 last year, so maybe a 10-win jump for them. And then in third place, I also have the Los Angeles Angels. They finished in fourth place last year, and the only reason I really have them upgrading is because of how much the A's downgraded.
Yeah.
They didn't really add much. I guess maybe Mike Trout will be kind of an addition this year. But yeah, I mean, that rotation, there's a bit to be desired. You said the word if 5 times when it came to that rotation. It's a lot of what ifs, and that's not very promising. And I don't think that's going to make them a second place team. They were 8 games below 500 last year, and it'll probably be somewhat similar, maybe around 500 for them. And a third place finish is my prediction. In second place, so I have the Mariners breaking the drought, but I have them breaking it as a wild card team.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be my 5th seed in the American League playoffs. I definitely love the improvements that they made with Robbie Ray.
You just can't give Jerry Dipoto the credit.
Oh yeah, well Robbie Ray, of course, is going to be a great addition. It was very necessary to that team. They were kind of lacking the solid number 1 ace. They had, all credit to Marco Gonzalez and Chris Flexen, but those are guys who are happy to have as a number 2, number 3 guy. So getting Robbie Ray was pretty good for them. Also getting Jesse Winker and Eugenio Suarez, along with I might be missing another addition, but they had some very good additions. And I don't know, maybe I'm buying too much into the run differential bandwagon, because they did have a negative 51 run differential last year. I think there are some holes on the team, even though this is probably the most confident in a Mariners team I've been in a very long time. There's still some places where you can, improve. The lineup, even with Winker and Suarez, it'll probably be a somewhat average lineup. And with their, rotation, you have Ray, Gonzalez, Flexen, Gilbert. It's solid, but I don't think it's a division-winning roster. And I think some of it also might depend on the bullpen, because the bullpen was probably a lot of the reason why they were able to win games. And they gave up some of that last year, unfortunately for them. We'll see about that. But I have them as a 5th seed in second place in the American League West, and in first place I have the Astros. I almost forgot about how good that lineup was. I think they led the league in OPS in all of Major League Baseball last year. So, losing Correa, they're probably not going to repeat that. But great lineup, and they lost Correa, but they're basically adding Justin Verlander back. He's not going to be a Cy Young probably, but he'll be a pretty quality starter that's going to get maybe like 4 wins above replacement or something like that, which is pretty nice. Lance McCullers, I think he'll be pretty good. I don't know if he's on the on the roster right now or if he's on the IL. I think you mentioned it earlier. I kind of blanked on it, but Lance McCullers is there. Framber Valdez, I think maybe, he's a guy where it's an if, but if he cuts the walks down, he can be very, very, very effective. And who else from that rotation do I like? And then, with the bullpen, I think they'll probably add to it throughout the season, with trades like they did last year. And I like their experience, and I like their manager with Dusty Baker. And they have my 3rd seed in the American League playoffs. So, I have in the AL West, I have the same as you, except I have Astros and Mariners flip-flopped.
Should we go over like our overall playoff seedings for the AL, or should we save that for after we go over the NL?
We can do that.
Okay.
So for me, my American League playoff seedings are Blue Jays number 1, White Sox 2, Astros 3, Rays 4, Mariners 5th, Red Sox 6. So I have Astros versus Red Sox and Rays versus Mariners.
Okay. I have White Sox number 1. White Sox number 1, Blue Jays number 2, Mariners number 3, Rays number 4. My bold prediction: Twins number 5, Astros number 6. So I have the Yankees and Red Sox both missing the playoffs.
Wow.
I have 2 teams coming out of each division, and then I have Rays versus Twins, Astros, Mariners.
Rays versus Twins. Astros, Mariners. I think I had Rays versus Twins.
Last year.
Last year in the AL wildcard round.
Like I said, a lot of my takes were pretty bold.
Yeah. Twins is a playoff team after being in last place. Yeah, that can alter. Yeah, that can be a bit of a hot take. All right, now we head into the National League, where we will start off in the East, like we did with the American League, and I'll start with that. In last place, I have the Washington Nationals because, you saw them. You saw them last year, and then you saw them after the trade deadline last year. It's not very good. Their rotation, how the mighty have fallen. I don't know where Steven Strasburg is. Is he supposed to start the year?
No.
On the team?
No, he's not.
So he's gone like full Ellsbury so far.
Mm-hmm.
Very early into that contract. Patrick Corbin
is the opening day starter. Which is alarming. And the lineup outside of Juan Soto, Josh Bell's good, and Nelson Cruz is good, and then it's a lot of what ifs, and it doesn't really make up for the rotation. So I have them 5th. With fourth place, I have the Marlins. I was kind of tempted to have a hot take and have them 3rd, ahead of a different team, but in fourth place, I have the Miami Marlins, which is where they were last year, and I guess I think they will upgrade, even though they won't upgrade in terms of standings, but also like the rest of that division upgraded pretty much. But the Marlins, I love that rotation, how young they are. They're going to be great for a good while, hopefully. I imagine Kim Ng is going to hold on to them. They've already extended Sandy Alcantara, so they're going to be very good for a long time. Lineup is a bit weak. You do have to like the additions of like Avisail Garcia and
even like Joey Wendell. Those were good additions, but they had a team OPS plus of 82 last year, which is not great. They need to develop, and they need to get some get some development down there. Although there was one player who I found yesterday who I wish was my player to watch.
Okay.
This year, I forgot what his name was.
Was it Lewis Head?
It was Jesus Sanchez.
Yes.
Who, yeah, he had
did very well in the minors last year, right?
I think he did very well in the minors, and last year, at the age of 23, had an 808 OPS, 14 home runs in 64 games. And yeah, I think he did. I think what really stood out to me was the minor league stats, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he had a 1059 OPS in AAA.
You know what I want to do this year?
What?
At some random points throughout the season, I want to throw in some minor leaguers on how about that?
That's what that would be a nice curveball.
Like I don't want to do it like where it's like like this top 15 prospect. Like I want it to be random people seemingly.
Yeah, if I if you threw in a minor leaguer.
Yeah.
When I was expecting a major league, my knees would be buckling.
Yeah.
I'm sitting down, but my knees would buckle. I'd be like, whoa,
yes.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah, I wanted to do it last year. I never got around to it though. But yeah, I didn't want to be like, oh, Bobby Witt Jr. is doing well in AAA. Like that's not fun at all.
Yeah, the number 2 overall draft pick from 2019,
who's also a top 5 prospect right now. He's doing pretty well, believe it or not.
Yeah.
And anyway, I mentioned that because one of the guys I looked into doing was Jesus Sanchez.
Yeah, I like that. I will definitely be doing that when it's August and I'm tempted to do another comeback special.
Yeah,
exactly.
I could do my 5th reliever of the month.
Yeah. It's or I could do this guy who's the number 16 prospect in the Orioles system.
Exactly.
All right, so I have the Marlins in 4th. In 3rd place, I have the Mets. Just like last year, they went 77 and 85 last year. They did add Max Scherzer, Starling Marte, Mark Canha, Eduardo Escobar, but they did lose, Marcus Stroman, and I guess he didn't contribute last year, but Noah Syndergaard. I think Jacob deGrom is not going to pitch a whole lot this year, unfortunately. So that's a large part of the reason why I have them behind the Phillies and Braves. So there's that. And yeah, I the lineup. The lineup's pretty good. They got some good names, but the rotation outside of Scherzer and even Bassett I think might take a step back. He's heading into his age 34 season. He kind of came out of the blue, so I don't know if I necessarily trust him to be like he was last year, even if the peripherals were kind of good. So there's that. And then what else? You have I should go to their roster resource. They've got Taijuan Walker after that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's take a look at that rotation just to double check. Yeah, or Carrasco, you don't know what you're necessarily going to get from him, especially he's 35 right now. And then Tyler McGill is the number 5 starter. Not exactly sure about that. And I don't think their lineup is necessarily good enough to make up for that. And then, Jacob deGrom is going to be out. And, you kind of saw them suffer after deGrom was out last year. So I kind of expect some of the same. In 2nd place, I have the Philadelphia Phillies, who I have making the playoffs for the first time since 2011. They're going to be the 6th seed for me. I really like that lineup, especially with Kyle Schwarber and Nick Castellanos. You have 3 extremely good outfield bats. One of them is probably going to be a DH, but 3 extremely good outfield bats. I think if they get Bryson Stott in there, he can make some good contributions. Hope maybe even over Didi Gregorius. I think Alec Baum is going to not do what he did last year. Zach Wheeler, I think, will continue to dominate. Aaron Nola, I think, will be much better ERA wise. You know, he already had like a good FIP and expected ERA, but you know, run prevention wise, he will be better because I think, you know, things will swing better for him. So yeah, and Zach Eflin is another pitcher I like, who you highlighted as your player to watch, who I think will, you know, maybe take a step up this year. Ranger Suarez you also have to like, just randomly had this amazing year last year.
Yep.
I don't think, you know, he's not going to have a 1.36 ERA again, but, you know.
Would be cool if he did, though.
It would be pretty sick for the Phillies if he did that. But, you know, I could see him, you know, having a high 2s, low 3s ERA. Why not? So, yeah, I kind of like what this Phillies roster has. I think they're a little under the radar. I think the Mets got a lot of hype over the offseason, but the Phillies did some things later in the offseason that I really liked.
Who needs defense?
Who needs defense?
When you can just hit dingers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you got Kyle Schwarber and Nick Castellanos. I like those moves. You got to love Bryce Harper there, too. And, yeah, they're going to be my second place in the National League East and my number 6 seed in the National League playoffs. And finally, I have the Braves being, what is it now? Would it be their 5th consecutive division title?
Yes.
Yeah, pretty wild. Yeah, I have them being back to back National League East champs, getting my 2nd seed in the National League playoffs. They, you know, won the division last year, and they're upgrading. You know, I guess Ronald Acuna Jr. will be playing more games than he did last year, I would imagine. And, you know, you have to love the additions of Kenley Jansen, along with Colin McHugh in that bullpen. Very good. You replaced Freddie Freeman with Matt Olson, who is going to have very similar production to Freddie Freeman, and brought back Jorge Soler as well. And, yeah, I think...
No, they didn't.
Or no, Eddie Rosario. They
Yeah.
brought back Eddie Rosario. And, you know, there's just a lot of talent on that roster. Brian Snitker seems to be very familiar and seems to do things the right way with that roster. And yeah, and I didn't even mention the rotation. The rotation is very good as well, with Morton, Fried, Anderson heading that. All very good pitchers. I expect good years out of all 3 of them. So, yeah, that's why I have them as National League East champs. Again, what do your standings look like?
So my standings are the same as yours again.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we just agree on so much. The Nationals are in 5th. I mean, Juan Soto's cool. He's actually really cool when you think about it.
He gets on base a good amount of times.
Yeah, like a really good amount of times, actually. The entire bottom 4 of this lineup, even 5, like, there's a lot of potential, but there's also not a lot of, like, there's a lot of potential for it to not be what you'd want it to be. Keibert Ruiz, still developing. Lane Thomas is a sneaky underdog pick, but, you know, he's an underdog for a reason. Alcides Escobar, Maikel Franco, Victor Robles, not a ton of offense there. Decent amount of defense, but I just don't know how to feel about this Nationals lineup. The rotation, Patrick Corbin, Josiah Gray, Anibal Sanchez, Josh Rogers, Eric Fetty.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's the bullpen, which is a yikes.
Oh, my God. I didn't even mention the bullpen.
Kyle Finnegan is their closer.
Yeah.
Tanner Rainey. Steve Cishek is still playing amazingly. He's with the Nationals. Sean Doolittle, Will Harris.
Steve Cishek deserves better than the Nationals.
Fun fact, I had an F4 League draft last night. And I swear to God, we were in like the reliever rounds, and someone was like, Steve Cishek available? And I was like, on the free agent market? Probably. Turns out he's not, but I did not know he was still playing. Good for him. Anyway,
Yeah.
The Nationals probably going to be in last. The Marlins, I was also very tempted to put them above some other teams in the division. I'm still kind of weary about the offense. I think the pitching staff and the bullpen are awesome. I feel like I need to see more from the offense before I can be really more convinced on them.
Right.
especially with the other teams in the division. I think if they were in like the NL Central, I could probably put them second or even, dare I say, first.
Yeah.
They're just in a division with a lot of strong teams. I'm not. You kind of said everything I wanted to say about that, so I'll leave that out. In third, I also have the Mets. I think the DeGrom injury really derails them a lot, especially since there isn't really a timetable. I feel like that's not really a good sign.
Yeah.
Like anytime, like just think based on experiences. Anytime you hear, oh, there's no timetable, that probably doesn't mean, oh, he'll actually be back sooner than you think.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's also like public relations in that, like, if there is a timetable, the team wants to let you know, like, no, everything's gonna be good. It's
Exactly.
He's okay. It's good.
The pitching staff is all right. I mean, Scherzer at the head is obviously very good. Tyler McGill has potential. Carrasco and Walker I'm not really sold on. And Bassett's obviously very good too. And the lineup is good as well. But it's also the Mets.
That's true.
It's the Mets.
They are the New York Mets.
Yeah.
They do play at Citi Field.
I know that's such a stupid explanation, but look at every preseason ranking since like 2017. And it's like every single year it's like, oh, the Mets. And I know that this year does seem different because this is probably the best offseason they've had in that time, but I need to see it. I really need to see it.
Right, yeah.
I think that's really the best explanation I have is I just need to see it.
Yeah, when you, like, this year, like, if I were to, and I didn't, but if I were to even just type, like, the ranking, like, 1 or 2 Mets, it would be like, what? This doesn't compute properly.
Yeah.
This doesn't work.
Like, go back and look at what they had on paper last season and then realize that that's a team that finished under 500.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Like, just look at the preseason last year and be like, wait, what?
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, in second place, I have the Phillies. The Phillies are my sleeper team in the National League. I have them finishing second. I love the offense, and I also really like the starting rotation.
Yeah.
I think Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola, Kyle Gibson, Zach Eflin, Ranger Suarez is a really strong rotation, and it's probably stronger than most.
Yeah, I forgot to mention Gibson. Like,
yeah.
You know, maybe he won't be the same as last year, but he'll be like a decent at least 5.
100%, 110%. This lineup is awesome. Defense sucks, but
yeah,
we'll worry about that. We'll see. Well, I think the Phillies are going to be a fun example of how much defense really does matter, because aside from maybe the bullpen, definitely the bullpen.
Yeah.
You know, everything seems to be clicking on all cylinders right now. Their offense is going to be really fun to watch. Their rotation is going to be good. I hope Aaron Nola doesn't get BABIP'd again this year.
Yeah, especially with runners in scoring position.
Yeah. But there's a lot of potential there. And then I have the Braves winning. I was very tempted to have the Phillies winning the division, but I just couldn't bring myself to put them above this Braves team.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, especially when you get Acuna back, top to bottom in the lineup is going to be threat after threat after threat. Every single person in that lineup can rake. And then you look at the rotation. You know, Max Fried, Charlie Morton at the top of it again. I think Huascar Yanoa, Ian Anderson, Kyle Wright, Tucker Davidson, those are guys that can take steps forward. Perhaps Anderson's probably the most established of the 4 of them, but I still think there's more there. And then the bullpen just got significantly better with the additions of McHugh, Jansen, Yates when he comes back. They're going to have Sean Newcomb in the bullpen now instead of having him start, which I think might be better for him. I can't bring myself to not have this team winning the division.
Yeah, I mean, they're too good, and also should be noted, like, you know, this is something I mentioned in the playoffs a lot last year with the Braves was like, you know, them winning 88 games last year may not have looked good, but I know they finished the year 36-19,
Mm-hmm.
and that was without Ronald Acuna Jr., their best player.
Yes, it was.
So, yeah, I mean, that's a team where, they're like right up there with the, you know, like Dodgers and Giants for me.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's the National League East, and you know, with the snake, we'll go right to the Central,
Mm-hmm.
where I mean, the Central is like it was hard to rank the bottom 3, to be honest. Yeah. It was tough.
I have a change in power this year. I have the Reds finishing last.
Ah,
yeah.
Nice.
You know, the Pirates have had a dynasty of running that basement for years now. I think since 2018, they finished last every single year.
Yeah.
Could even be before then. Actually, probably not. Is the fire alarm going off in this building right now?
No. Well,
Or is that an Abbey?
that's an Abbey.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
No, I
There
think
you
the
go.
Reds actually finished last in 2019, but I have them returning to the basement after having a dynasty there in the mid-2010s.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the Pirates have run it pretty recently. I don't know. There's just a lot that I don't like, especially after the trades. Have you seen their rotation right now?
The
Reds.
Cincinnati Reds. Well, I know Castillo's
yeah.
injured, and then
So Castillo's injured. They have Tyler Mahle starting on opening day. Makes sense. In game 2, I swear to God, in this second game of the season, they have Revere San Martin starting for them.
I mean that's a solid name.
It's a solid name.
I don't know if he can pitch, but
No. They have him throwing 55 innings, and he's starting the second game of the season.
yeah. Well, maybe he'll be
Yeah.
an opener.
They have Hunter Green, which is cool. They have Vladimir Gutierrez, which is
Yeah.
I don't
Received
know.
Rookie of the Year votes.
Yes, from Cincinnati Riders. Yeah, I can't say him. I think the lineup's okay-ish.
Yeah.
Like that's something nice
It's
I
not
can
the
say about
worst
them.
thing in the world.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jonathan India, Tyler Naquin, Joey Votto, Tyler Stevenson, Moustakas, Pham. They got some guys, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's okay-ish. Like they're a better lineup still.
Yeah. But they didn't lose everybody.
They didn't lose everyone.
It's
They
not like
even they gained Tommy Pham.
Look at
Yeah.
that.
I think they're going to finish last. The Pittsburgh Pirates I have finishing 4th. I think they have a lot of names that are going to step up this year. Daniel Vogelbach is on their team.
That's true.
I think maybe this is the year that he finds a home. I think offensively he's very similar to Yoshi Satsugo, who was with Pittsburgh last year and had a lot of success there in a short time. He's back this year.
Nice.
I think those are guys who, they're not necessarily going to run the offense, but I think we could see career years out of them.
Right.
They also have Brian Reynolds, Cabrian Hayes. They go without saying. Eventually, O'Neal Cruz is going to be there.
That's true.
Eventually, he's going to be there. Cole Tucker's still hanging around. I'm wondering if we could see it finally.
Yeah.
I don't know. They also have Ben Gamel, who is pretty underrated. Not that he's great or anything, but he's not bad at all. And then Diego Castillo is a guy that they got for Clay Holmes, and he's been going off in spring training. He is like a 1,300 OPS. They just announced that he made the opening day roster.
A different Diego Castillo.
Yeah, there's multiple Luis Garcias, there's multiple Will Smiths, there are multiple Diego Castillos.
Yeah.
Can't wait for the Pirates-Mariners game this year when there's I don't even know if do they play each other this year? I think they do. Maybe they don't. I don't know. No, I don't think they do. I think the AL West plays the NL East.
Yeah. I'm not sure. Yeah, but
anyway,
will be fun when it happens.
Yes. Yeah, I think the Central plays the AL East this year, so it won't happen this year unless Diego Castillo gets traded from the Mariners. I don't think the Pirates would trade him. It's too early. But I think he's hit like 6 home runs in spring training. They just announced that he made the opening day roster, which means that they clearly don't care about him as much.
Yeah.
Which is such a sad thing to. It's a sad conclusion to come to.
It's almost backhanded.
The rotation. JT Brubaker starting on opening day. Jose Quintana's right behind him. Quintana had very good strikeout to walk numbers last year, but he got hit hard and he gave up a lot of home runs. But it's someone that can be serviceable for the Pirates. I think he can pitch like 120 plus innings. Mitch Keller, we're still waiting. Bryce Wilson, Zach Thompson. Zach Thompson had a pretty good stretch for the Marlins last year. His strikeout numbers aren't great though.
I did see that. I did notice that.
I think the Pirates have guys that can step up, which is why I'm putting them in 4th, but they are still the Pirates. In 3rd place, I have the Chicago Cubs, who are coming off a big rebuild last year. I think the addition of Seiya Suzuki is going to be a big one for them.
Yep.
I think having a full year of Nick Madrigal is going to be fun. Maybe not a full year, but a fuller year.
Yeah.
I know. I think it's going to be interesting to see what guys like Frank Schwindel, Patrick Wisdom, Rafael Ortega do this year. They're all older, but they all broke out in August and September of last year.
Right.
As far as the rotation, they added Marcus Stroman, which is good. They have the softest throwing rotation ever.
Yeah.
And I think the bullpen could break out again like it did last year. I think there are a lot of guys, like the Cubs bullpen was the reason why they were a threat to win the division at one point. And I think we could see that at least early in next year. So I'm going to put them at third. In second place in the National League Central, I have the St. Louis Cardinals. Once again, I mean, they didn't really do much this offseason other than add Steve and Matz.
Yeah.
I think they're kind of just the same team they are last year, and that's a second place team.
Right.
I think Tyler O'Neill has MVP potential. I think Paul Goldschmidt has 880 potential. But I don't know. I think they're kind of just the same team.
Yeah. Pretty top heavy, pretty old.
Yeah, and with that being said, my first place team is the Milwaukee Brewers again. They made some additions to the offense with Andrew McCutchen, with Hunter Renfroe. I think those are going to be good additions for sure. And the pitching. I mean, what else is there? I was looking at some projections last night. The Bat X has Aaron Ashby finishing third in reliever F4 behind Hader and Hendricks.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty
that's pretty wild.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah. So there's a lot of awesomeness in that pitching staff. Corbin Burns, Brandon Woodruff, Freddie Peralta, and Adrian Hauser, your player to watch, Eric Lauer as well. And then in the bullpen, Hader, Williams, Boxberger, Suter, Cousins, Ashby. There are so many weapons they can throw at you. This is a team that has so much potential. I think the offense is what we're really looking for this year. And I still have them winning the Central.
Yeah. So my National League Central, I have the Pirates keeping their rightful title as last in the National League Central for this year. I do agree on your points of, there's a lot of young guys that are going to make an impact. O'Neal Cruz, on April 24th, he'll start making his impact. Key Brian Hayes he'll definitely bounce back from where he was last year. He kind of had a little bit of an injury-riddled season. It was maybe hitting a little too many ground balls. He'll bounce back. Brian Reynolds, I'm not going to expect a 6-win season out of him again, but I think he'll remain pretty good for that team. But the pitching staff, I could name maybe 3 of them. It's pretty tough what their pitching staff has. But yeah, their lineup has some somewhat inspiring guys, especially with, mainly Cruz, Hayes, Reynolds, and maybe I'm missing a guy, but Vogelbach's pretty cool too. I can see Vogelbach having a couple of ones that go into that river. When in fourth, I have the Reds. That rotation, they lost a lot. Lineup, they also lost a significant amount. We apologize for the inconvenience of.
Yes.
I mean, that's not our thing. That's not our. It's like an attachment of our building, but it's not. That was not caused by us. That noise in the background. But anyway, back to the point. The Reds, I have in fourth. They lost, a significant part of their lineup, significant part of their rotation, more significant with their rotation. And, bullpen has never really been good at all. And, I'll have them in fourth place. In third place, I also have the Cubs. Because, it's weird because I was a little hesitant to have them in third place after how they finished, after the trade deadline last year. I think they went 25-45. Or maybe that was beforehand. From mid-July on, they were 25-45, which was very, very bad. But they made an effort over the offseason with guys like Suzuki, guys like Stroman. I don't think Hendricks is going to get back to prime Hendricks, but I think he'll he won't be a high 4 ERA guy again. And I think Adbert Alzolay can take a step forward as well. And, Schwindel, Ortega, Wisdom, I don't think all of them are going to do great, but I think, one or two of them might be, a pretty serviceable guys in the lineup. So I'll have them in third place. I mean, they're going to be below 500 in my mind, but still third place in this particular division. And then second place, I also have the Cardinals. I mean, up until that 17-game win streak last year, they were a 500 team. Pythagorean win-loss had them at 85 and 77 as well, so it's not like they were really supposed to be that much better, in terms of run production. Not that we love the stat, but sometimes it can be decent to reference. But yeah. Anyway, the Cardinals, they didn't make too many upgrades. I guess they added Steven Matz, but there's a lot of guys that are getting older, Adam Wainwright, Yadier Molina, even I don't know, Paul DeYoung. He's 31 or something like that. As a shortstop, Nolan Arenado is getting a little bit older. Paul Goldschmidt, although, did I have him I might have had him at over 880. So maybe we'll see about Paul Goldschmidt. But I don't love that roster. I don't know how much of a difference Ollie Marmol will make. I think they had something kind of good with Mike Schilt. But they decided to change position there. Actually, I can just close this door. But the Cardinals, I'm not too inspired by their roster. They have great defense, but I mean, I just don't see them going by the Brewers because Brewers are very good. You mentioned that the entire pitching staff, top to bottom. Corbin Burns, it's hard to not just freak out about Corbin Burns with how many guys he strikes out and how little walks and home runs he gives up. Hard not to freak out about him. And then Brandon Woodruff is an ace in 85% of rotations in baseball. So that's fun for
Freddie
him.
Peralta's even an ace in 60% of rotations in baseball.
Yeah, Freddie Peralta, exactly. And then, Hauser and Lauer, at least based off of what they did last year, 2 or 3 guys in a lot of rotations as well. Mm-hmm. They're in a great position having them as their 4 and 5, and their bullpen is also great. They did great last year, and also what should be mentioned is there's potential bounce back seasons offensively. I guess we said that with Christian Yelich last year, but I would expect better from him. He's a almost 2-time MVP. I don't think a 736 OPS at the age of 30 is going to be what we're going to be getting used to. So I think he won't get back to MVP form, but I think he'll still be a very good bat in that lineup. Hunter Renfroe was a great addition in my mind. They lost Bradley and gained Renfroe. I mean, they did also lose Avisail Garcia, but Renfroe is basically Avisail Garcia with defense. So you gotta like that. And there's just a lot of talent with that team. I love Craig Counsell at the helm as well.
Yes.
Managing baseball games for that Brewers team, and I think they'll be my 3rd seed in the National League playoffs. Now on to the National League West to round out the full standings predictions. I will start off with my last place team. It's going to be the Diamondbacks again for me. It's I don't expect them to be the worst team in baseball again, but there's no reason for me to have them ahead of the Rockies, Padres, Giants, or Dodgers. So they'll be last place. They'll I guess, be developing. I don't really know. They don't really have any young studs on that team necessarily. But yeah, they'll be in last place. The Rockies I have in fourth place. They added Chris Bryant, but not too much added to the team. And, I think the rest of that division is very good as well. And I think the Rockies will do similar to what they did last year, mid-70s wins.
Mm-hmm.
I do really like some of the guys they have there, some young developing guys like Ryan McMahon, Brendan Rodgers, CJ Crone. He's not a younger guy, but he's a good producer for that lineup as well. If there's anybody I'm blanking on, I mean, I like you got to like having Herman Marquez in there as your number one guy. I think there's some fair reasons to watch the Rockies, but I think they'll be in fourth place. In third place, I have the San Diego Padres once again in third place. However, I'm going to have them as my fifth seed in the National League playoffs. They're going to make the playoffs this time. I would expect a good amount of bounce-back seasons from this team. Yu Darvish, Blake Snell. For me, I think Blake Snell's last seven full starts was very inspiring to me, especially mostly because of the cuts and walks, because I think he had less than 3 walks per 9 in that 7-start span, and his strikeout minus walk percentage was over 30%, which is astounding. So I'm inspired by how Blake Snell can bounce back, and Yu Darvish, he had a very good strikeout to walk ratio last year. I think his issue is the home run ball, which can be fixed. I think it can be fixed, and along with that, Dinelson Lamet's, I imagine, is going to pitch more than he did last year. That's a very good sign. Mike Clevenger is eventually going to be added to the mix. Sean Manaea is going to be added to the mix immediately. You don't love having Tatis out for the first couple months, but a very good lineup besides Tatis, with Machado, Cronenworth, Grisham. There's plenty of guys I'm missing. Plenty of guys I'm missing, but I don't know if I'd put Will Myers as an elite guy, but let me just go to their projected lineup, because they've got good guys. I'm just blanking on names right now. Oh wait, roster resources. What I gotta go to? Padres. Luke Voit they added. Austin Nola. They've got good offense. I like their rotation. Joe Musgrove I was inspired by last year. He's not going to be necessarily the ace this year, I don't think. But I liked what I saw from him. Nick Martinez is also a pretty interesting story. So, yeah, I like that. I like the Padres pitching, and I think they will be the 5th seed in the National League playoffs, 3rd in the National League West. The 4th seed in the National League playoffs for me, and 2nd in the National League West, is going to be the San Francisco Giants. They won 107 games last year. I don't expect the same from them this year, but I do expect them to still have success. Whatever they've done in that analytics department is working. They're going to get more innings from Logan Webb this year, hopefully. I think he had 140 something, so I'd imagine he's probably more near 190, 200 this year. So that's very good. They did lose Kevin Gausman, but I think Carlos Rodon might be a good replacement in that role. And yeah, I up and down, they don't really have any particular weaknesses on that team. And yeah, I just like that team to continue success, even if they're a little bit old, even if they lost Buster Posey. I think they'll grab that that first wild card spot in the National League. And then in first place, I have the Dodgers getting back to their division-winning ways. It's just funny to think they didn't win it last year after 106 wins, but yeah, I mean, it's like it's hard not to be obvious with with this team. Just look at their projected lineup, and then you have you have a very good rotation as well with Walker Buehler, Julio Urias, Clayton Kershaw. They might have other people coming back as well, potentially. I don't know what the situation might be. But obviously a very good bullpen. They just added Craig Kimbrell. And yeah, I mean, they're used to winning. They have the talent to win the division, and I think they'll win the division. I think they'll get the first seed in the National League playoffs. What do you got for the NL West?
So so you went first on 3 divisions. We agreed on 13 out of 15 teams combined. So I have the Diamondbacks in last as well. I think the Ketel Marte extension was great. I think this team is just a ways away, though, especially in that division. The offense is very uninspiring. The pitching staff is okay at best. The bullpen is also okay at best. They're in a pretty strong. I feel like they're a decent last place team. But they're still a last place team.
Yeah.
The Colorado Rockies are in 4th for me. Similar thing. I think they could get close to approaching 500. Honestly.
Yeah.
They won how many games last season? 74. They added Chris Bryant. They added Randall Grichuk to the offense. I think he's going to play more favorable to Coors Field than Raimel Tapia did. I think they've got breakouts impending as well. This is a team that's decent, but I still think they're in 4th just by default.
Yeah.
In 3rd, I have the San Francisco Giants. I still think they're a very good team. I still think they can win 90-plus games. I don't know about 107 again. But, they did lose Kevin Gausman, although I think Logan Webb will be able to take up that rotation spot nicely. If Carlos Rodon stays healthy, that's a lethal rotation up top to bottom. The bullpen is rock solid as well. Jacob McGee, Camilo Doval, if they have a full season of him. Tyler Rogers, Yarlin Garcia, Zach Littell. And the lineup, I mean, obviously we need to see replications of breakout seasons from the older guys. Brandon Crawford, Darren Ruff, Brandon Belt. I think we need to see Joey Bart take a step up this year, I think, especially with the fact that he's replacing Buster Posey. The Giants I have in 3rd because of the Melvin effect. I believe in it.
Yeah.
That's really the one reason why I have the Padres in 2nd. Even if they're going to lose Tatis, this is still an incredible... part of you still has to put on your pre-2020 cap when you're thinking about this team. It doesn't seem realistic that every single guy who underperformed is going to do so again in 2021.
Yeah.
Yu Darvish could go back to ace form just like that. So can Blake Snell. Will Myers can go back to being a guy with a 30 OPS plus. It's possible. Austin Nola maybe is the guy that I'm the least optimistic about. Luke Voigt, now that he's playing full-time again. The last time he played full-time, he led the league in homers.
Yeah.
Are we just forgetting that? There's Cronenworth, Machado, who were both, I would say they didn't underperform last year. And there was Trent Grisham, who is a very dynamic player. I have them finishing 2nd, and I probably would have them finishing 1st in some divisions, but not in the division with the Los Angeles Dodgers. I can't do that. I don't really know what more needs to be said. I'm sure you've all heard it by now. The fact that Gavin Lux, who is a top prospect, is hitting 9th for this team is hilarious.
Yes.
They could have a Cody Bellinger resurgence here.
Yeah.
That's 100% on the table. I know he
Even
struggled in spring training too.
Yeah.
And even if they don't, if their former MVP from 3 years ago is terrible again, they'll still be fine.
Yeah. if last year didn't prove that enough.
Yeah. I do think the weakest part of their team is probably the rotation, especially if they don't get certain guys back. I don't know how I feel about Andrew Heaney as a 4-starter.
That's true. Yeah.
That might be their biggest weakness, but everything else is just so good that it cancels out.
Yeah.
So for my NL standings overall, I have the Dodgers as the 1 seed, the Braves as the 2 seed. the Brewers as the 3 seed, the Phillies as the 4 seed. I think the Phillies are going to surprise a lot of people and take that first wild card spot.
Interesting.
The Padres as the 5th seed and the San Francisco Giants as the 6th seed. I have 3 teams making it out of the NL West. So now, do we want to do awards?
Yeah, regular season awards.
Okay.
For me, I went. My National League picks are more basic. My American League picks are more, I don't know.
Okay.
I guess dark horse.
Should we start with the order of award week?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, American League Rookie of the Year. I'll start and say American League Rookie of the Year is stacked, by the way.
It's so stacked.
Because all of the top 6.
This, as a whole, this might be the best Rookie of the Year potential class we've seen, like going into a season ever.
Yeah, I mean, just thinking about, like, if you just look at the MLB prospect rankings, the top 5 are all supposed to be, at least on rosters like before May this year, and they're all just
like Adley Rutschman probably would be there. The only problem is he's hurt.
Yeah,
like that's probably the only reason he's not on a roster.
So my American League Rookie of the Year is one of those 5 prospects. I think maybe people aren't thinking about him enough, but last year in the minors he hit 347 with a 1001 OPS in 74 games. Also, like 66 strikeouts in 74 games. Like, that's not too much and doesn't concern me too much. I think strikeouts sometimes concern me, but
they matter more in the minors than in the majors, I think.
Yeah. And that guy is Julio Rodriguez.
Yep.
And yeah, I don't know. It feels weird saying Julio Rodriguez will win Rookie of the Year, but the Mariners won't win the division because it feels like they should go hand in hand. But
I don't think it has to.
Yeah, not necessarily, I guess.
Like MVP maybe, but Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
Especially, but I think Rookie of the Year means more in this year, this potential class.
Yes. Yeah, he's probably got to get
especially in the AL
4 or 5 wins above replacement.
Yeah.
Who is your
So
American League Rookie of the Year?
I'm going with the same team. But I'm going with Matt Brash.
Matt Brash.
Yeah, I'm going with a bold take on this one.
Yeah.
Everyone's out here thinking Julio Rodriguez, Bobby Witt Jr., Adley Rutschman, Spencer Torkelson, MJ Melendez, which I do think all of them are going to be great this year. Give me the friend of the program, and give me the guy that's had one of the quickest rises to the top.
Yeah.
In a while.
Yeah. Yeah. Great strike thrower.
Mm-hmm.
I should look at his minor league statistics as well, but yeah,
I think his estimated time of arrival was 2023. He was on the major league roster in 2021. Granted, he didn't pitch, but he's there on opening day in 2022.
Yeah. 2021, he had a 2.31 ERA and 142 strikeouts in 97 1/3 innings. Pitched 13.1 strikeouts per 9.
Yes.
Yeah, he's
and he's already been on Pitching Ninja a bunch of times as well.
Yeah, great stuff. Some of the best breaking stuff, you'll see out of a young right-hander like Matt Brash.
Yeah.
And Canadian.
And Canadian, yes. Niagara University.
Yeah. And now time for National League Rookie of the Year. I didn't go really edgy at all, and I chose the hard-hitting O'Neal Cruz.
Yeah.
Just because, I don't know, American League Rookie of the Year is so stacked, and the National League Rookie of the Year, I don't really know. I don't really know where to go. Last year the race was kind of, there was potential with there was Ian Anderson.
Yep. Ke'Bryan Hayes.
Ke'Bryan
Hayes and Ian Anderson were the consensus top 2.
Yeah.
And it ended up being Jonathan India and Trevor Rogers.
Yeah, right.
Good for them.
So yeah, I have O'Neal Cruz. Who do you have for National League Rookie of the Year?
I'm going with a guy that I think a lot of people aren't considering just because of the way he got here. I'm looking at Seiya Suzuki.
Yeah. Right. That's true.
People are forgetting there are ways to be a rookie other than going through the minors.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, he had outlandish numbers in Japan before he came over here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think he had a 170 OPS plus or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
I want to look exactly, but I think he's going to fit nicely in the Cubs lineup.
Right. Yeah. I'm thinking of a darker horse guy to just throw out there. But
yeah, he had a 10 in between two teams in 2021. He had a 1069 OPS. And that's, by the way, that's a 317, 433, 636. Like, he did everything right. Good batting average, good ratio between batting average and OBP, good ISO. Like, he was good at everything on offense last year. And I think that, maybe it's not going to translate directly to the big leagues, but I think it'll translate enough to be a Rookie of the Year winner.
Yeah. I think a dark horse candidate for me, not my pick, but I don't know, maybe he's not dark horse because he's like top 40 prospect in baseball, but Edward Cabrera from the Marlins, he had 13.5 strikeouts per nine in the minors last year, along with a 2.93 ERA. So yeah, he's another potential nominee in National League Rookie of the Year.
Does Sixto Sanchez still count as a rookie?
Yeah.
That's another one too if he comes back from his injury.
Yeah, he barely.
You just pick any Marlins pitcher. That guy is a dark horse for Rookie of the Year.
Yeah. All right, American League Manager of the Year. It's kind of just process of elimination based on what your standings are.
It's very synonymous with your standings for sure.
So mine's Charlie Montoya.
So is mine.
Yeah.
It doesn't. There's not. I mean, I don't want to talk about the Blue Jays as a team again because that's really what it is.
That's pretty much, yeah. And my National League Manager of the Year, ours might also be the same here as Joe Girardi.
Yep.
Yeah. So we have the same American League Manager of the Year and National League Manager of the Year.
Yeah. There's not really much that needs to be said there.
And I don't think it's necessarily going to be because of their managers.
I would say I don't think Joe Girardi is going to win it because of his job as a manager. I think it's going to be because of his team.
Yes.
Yeah.
Honestly, I've just forgotten that he's the manager of the Phillies sometimes.
Remember when he let Aaron Nola give up a home run in the bottom of the ninth with 2 outs at 120 pitches?
Yeah. Yeah, what the heck? That was too much. Too much. All right. American League Cy Young. This is where I go a little bit off the beaten path. I think he has the stuff. I think he has the strikeout numbers. And I think his team is going to be able to help him have success and maybe be able to prevent runs. I'm going with Dylan Cease.
So am I. Oh my God. Let's go. Yes.
Here am I thinking this is a dark horse pick.
Oh my goodness. Who would have thought this a year and a half ago? We're both going with Dylan Cease as our Cy Young pick. We made fun of this guy so much when he was walking everyone, which is understandable.
Yeah. I see a lot of Robbie Ray in this guy.
Yes. I don't know if you saw my face that entire time you were building up to that. I was like, he's going to do it. I was like, that fits the description. That also fits the description. It could be Dylan Cease.
I did see it, yeah.
I am also going with Dylan Cease as my American League Cy Young Award. It's the second year in a row I'm taking a White Sox pitcher because I picked Giolito last year.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, his spring training numbers have been excellent. His walk rate very much improved. His strikeout rate very much improved last year. I think they went down by a full 1 of each.
Yeah.
Up or down as far as better.
Right.
Yeah, but I 100% agree with that. I think Dylan Cease is the Cy Young winner.
Yeah, he had a 3.41 FIP last year, 12.3 strikeouts per nine. I want to look at there was some StatCast data that I also liked from him. Trying to look at plate discipline. Yeah, his whiff rate went from 25.3% in 2020 to 34.6% in 2021, and the MLB average for whiff rate is 24.6%. His whiff rate was 10% above average, which is pretty crazy. Like, the contact rates are very good for him, and what do you have? 3.65 expected ERA, and the American League Cy Young, it's not like the American League pitchers. It's not very deep. We kind of saw it last year. Like, Robbie Ray was able to win the Cy Young with an upper 2s ERA and even a mid 3s FIP. And Garrett Cole, he's the safe pick. And I wanted to go a little bit off the beaten path. And
I can't believe it.
Me neither.
This is a monumental day for ARR.
This has shown so much growth in us and Dylan Cease.
Yes.
What a moment. Yeah. National League Cy Young. This is I'm not going too hot. I think Corbin Burns is going to go back to back.
Okay.
Because I don't know, it's just like he had a 1.63 FIP last year, and he's not going to have a 1.63 FIP again. But if he has a 2.4 FIP and maybe an even lower ERA, if it just balances out that way, yeah, I mean, I just don't see who's gonna uncrown him unless his innings production is like very low. I think he'll win that Cy Young again, and his stuff is just very good, and he's heading into his age 27 season.
My pick for Cy Young, like I think it's like the bridge between favorite and dark horse. I'm going with Sandy Alcantara.
I see, yeah.
Yeah. He has some of the best fastball velocity in the majors. He also is a primary sinker baller, I believe. Last year, his walk rate went down by a full walk, and it also went up almost 2 full strikeouts from 2019. He has shown massive improvement in the last couple of years, and he's entering his age 26 season. He pitched 205 innings last year, which I think if he does so again with better production and Corbin Burns has a similar amount of innings, I think that's a situation where they might just go with the innings, even though they didn't do it last year. Like the only reason they really picked Burns is because of that 1.63 FIP, which I also don't think he's going to replicate.
Yeah.
Like I think if Sandy Alcantara shows, some improvement and Corbin Burns does what you think, I think the innings are going to push the writers over to the Sandy Alcantara side of things. So I have him as my NL Cy Young pick.
Yeah, that's a good pick. That's a solid pick. So now on to MVPs.
Yeah.
My American League MVP is someone who I think from like May 9th on had a 1,000 OPS, over 1,000 OPS in like 107 games or something like that. Also got a little bit unlucky. If you look at StatCast, not crazy, but like even a little unlucky. Great hard hit rates, exit velocity, barrel rates. I'm going with Kyle Tucker.
Wow.
As my American League MVP.
Wow.
Like Shohei is the safe pick, I guess. Mike Trout might also be up there in terms of a safe pick, but I didn't want to go with that. I don't know if Shohei Ohtani is necessarily going to do what he did last year. Like, that's hard to expect.
So here's the thing: I picked Shohei Ohtani as my MVP for the American League, and I think he set the bar so unbelievably high last year that if he has like a season that's like 60% of what he did last year, that's still MVP worthy.
Right. Yeah.
Like what did he have? Like last year he had what, like a 1.50 ERA or like 150 OPS plus and like 140 ERA plus.
Yeah.
Something like that. Let's say they both go down by like 20 this year. I still think that's MVP worthy. Like he's still doing both at an efficient level.
Yeah, that's true. And yeah, he had 9 wins above replacement on Baseball Reference and 8 on Fangraphs. So like, yeah, that's very good. And yeah, I think Kyle Tucker like will have like a 7-win season. I think he'll do it. I think Shohei will be definitely in the mix for sure. But yeah, like no gripes seeing Shohei picked at all.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, like
I have dark horse MVP picks because my other MVP is also extremely basic.
Yeah.
It's Juan Soto. I'm picking him every year until he wins it.
Yep.
This is my 3rd year in a row now. My dark horse MVP picks in the AL, it's Byron Buxton, and in the NL, it's Tyler O'Neill.
Yeah.
Yep.
My National League MVP is also Juan Soto. He had an unbelievable season, and his expected WOBA was actually higher than his WOBA. So I expect repeated success. I mean, his second half was so unbelievable too, so he was trending in the right direction, and he's heading into his age 23 season. It was hard to go against him. It was hard to go against Ohtani, but like I liked what I saw from Tucker, but I didn't like what I saw from anyone else. And also, like, what should be considered with National League MVP is like Acuna and Tatis probably not going to be able to win it.
Exactly.
Tatis definitely not. So those are like 2 contenders out the window, and maybe even DeGrom if you want to consider him kind of out of the mix. So it's kind of it's Soto's to have pretty much based on what he's done the past few years or his entire career. So I have him as NL MVP as well. So what a moment, Dylan Cease. We have him as AL Cy Young. All right, now we get into the postseason.
Yes, we do get into the postseason
with the wild card round.
So I think we should, the wild card round. Just for reference, you have what did you have in the wild card rounds?
I have Astros versus Red Sox with the Astros hosting, and Rays versus Mariners, Rays hosting, Brewers versus Phillies, Brewers hosting, Giants versus Padres at Oracle Park.
Okay, so I have. In the American League, I have Mariners versus Astros with the Mariners hosting, and I have Rays Twins with the Rays hosting. In the National League, I have Brewers Giants with the Brewers hosting, and Phillies Padres with the Phillies hosting.
Yeah.
So you want to go first?
So I have the Astros defeating the Red Sox once again in the playoffs, and at Tropicana, I think the Mariners are going to get it done and advance to the American League Division Series. So Astros and Mariners are going to be moving on. And then in the National League, I have the Brewers getting by the Phillies with that pitching staff silencing that hefty lineup. And then I have the Giants pushing past the Padres at Oracle Park. I think I just like their team a little better, and Bob Melvin, good in the regular season, but hasn't shown it in the postseason, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, I guess neither has Gabe Kapler, but anyway.
So in my wild card round, I have the Mariners taking down the Astros in 3 games. I believe the wild card series is a best of 3, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I have I have the Astros getting taken down by the Mariners in 3. I made a lot of bold picks, Chris. I could not be bold enough to have the Twins winning a playoff game. that just no. I have the Rays over the Twins in 2. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Now what am I? I'm not working miracles here.
Yeah. What is it? What is this?
Yeah. So I have the Mariners and the Rays moving on to the American League Division Series, and I have an upset. I have the Giants taking down the Brewers in 2, as a 6 versus 3.
Yeah.
And then I have the Padres upsetting the Phillies in 3.
Padres upsetting the Phillies.
So I have these 6 and 5 seeds moving on to the division series in my brackets.
Yeah.
NL side.
So that leads to the League Division Series, where I have it with the number 1 seeded Blue Jays against the number 5 seeded Mariners, the number 2 seeded White Sox versus the number 3 seeded Astros, the number 1 seeded Dodgers versus number 4 seeded Giants, and number 2 Braves versus number 3 Brewers. And I have the Blue Jays getting by the Mariners. I have this time the White Sox getting past the Astros. Maybe home field advantage will help them out. And I don't know. I think the Astros are not as good as they were last year, so I think the White Sox might have a little bit easier time with that because they didn't get worse necessarily, really. I think they're getting better. And then in the National League Division Series, I have the Dodgers getting past the Giants again, and I have the Braves getting past the Brewers again, with just home field advantage being different. But cool. Both very similar playoffs to last year in the National League.
So in my division series, I have the one-seeded White Sox taking on the 4-seeded Rays, and I have the 2-seeded Blue Jays taking on the 3-seeded Mariners, and I have the Blue Jays getting past the Mariners in 4, and the Rays upsetting the White Sox in 5. And on the National League side of things, I have the number 1-seeded Dodgers taking on a rematch with the Giants, and I have Braves Padres. And I have the Giants upsetting the Dodgers in 5. I have them getting revenge from last year, and I have the Padres taking on the Braves and beating them in 4. I have a lot of upsets in the National League. I have a 6 versus 5 NLCS.
Padres Giants in the League Championship Series.
Yep. So I have Blue Jays, Rays, ALCS, Padres, Giants, NLCS.
Nice.
Bunch of divisional matchups.
Nice. So that leads to the AL and NLCS.
Mm-hmm.
I have number 1 Blue Jays versus number 2 White Sox and number 1 Dodgers versus number 2 Braves. I didn't really.
Yeah.
I have a lot of what should be happening in the playoffs happening in the playoffs.
Yep.
I have the Blue Jays getting by the White Sox, and I have the Dodgers Braves. It's going to be a trilogy, and I think the Dodgers are going to win because they'll also have the home field advantage, and I don't know. I think they'll just win.
Have you ever not had the Dodgers going to the World Series? You don't think you have?
Not in this program's history, no.
Did you have them beating the Rays in 2020?
No, I had the Rays beating the Dodgers before the season started.
So I have the Blue Jays taking down the Rays in 7 games, and I have the Giants taking down the Padres in 6. So you have Blue Jays Dodgers. I have Blue Jays Giants.
Yeah,
in the World Series.
And
really bold take. The Giants might not even make the playoffs. I have them going to the World Series.
Yeah. Love to see it. It's kind of the opposite direction of me. So it just feels weird for me not having the Dodgers make it to the World Series.
Yeah.
Just based on, they always just do something in the off season. But anyway, so I was tempted to have the Blue Jays winning the World Series, but then I realized this core, this isn't a hypothetical world, but this core has not seen the playoffs yet. And usually if you look at kind of all the teams in the past, most of the teams in the past decade has had their core make the playoffs, not win it, and then come back another time and win it again. That was with the 20, and I'm not counting 2020 as a playoff run for the Blue Jays because they played 2 games.
Yeah,
but
with no fans in Tropicana.
But with the Dodgers, they made it to the or the Braves, they made it to the playoffs 3 times in a row, and then finally they won the World Series. Dodgers.
I think the best thing you can count is the Astros. They played in the wild card game and they won and they lost to the Royals.
Yeah.
And they made it.
Yeah.
But even still, that was mostly the same core, just they were at very different parts of their careers.
Yeah. So I think the Blue Jays and I think the Dodgers' experience and Dave Roberts' experience managing, even though I think it has improved. So I kind of trust that more. And I think the Dodgers will beat the Blue Jays in the World Series. And for the second year in a row, I have the Dodgers winning the World Series.
Yeah.
I
have the Blue Jays winning in 7 against the Giants. So I have the Blue Jays going all the way this year.
Home field advantage is.
It's very
nice.
real in Toronto. Yes. Not to mention that place is also rowdy as hell when they're in the playoffs.
Oh my God, no doubt. Just go back to the 2015 and 2016 playoffs. It's insane to watch for sure. All right, well,
that is it for the 3rd ARR/STBNL off season.
Yeah, that's all. Our 3rd predictions episode that we've done for a season, and I have Dodgers over Blue Jays. Daniel has Blue Jays over Giants for the World Series. Dylan Cease, AL Cy Young consensus. Love to see it.
That's the biggest takeaway for sure. Who would have ever thought?
I mean, it's going to happen. We hope you enjoyed this one. If you want to follow us on social media, follow me on Twitter at @Girls_Gianta. Follow Daniel on both Twitter and Instagram at Daniel_Curran, and follow the show Instagram at Above Replacement Radio for all the show needs. And, we hope you enjoyed this season predictions episode, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
Yes, we do.
When we're talking about Major League Baseball regular season action. Looking forward to doing that once again for the 3rd time for us. 3rd time covering a regular season. And, that's going to be fun. So looking forward to that. We will see you then.
This conversation is over.